Hello, YouTube fam. Today we're playing a deck called Pump and Go, which is a deck built around +1/+1 counters from Gala Greeters, Curian Beastcaller, uh, Clay Champion, Siege Veteran, Ajani, and also built around Kodama of the West Tree. Just with all these creatures basically being modified creatures, they now all have trample, and then when they deal combat damage to a player, we can search a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield, and we have a bunch of basic land cards. We have 9 force, 5 planes in our deck, so we're pretty well set up from that point of view to take advantage of Kodama, especially on turn 2 Gala Greeters or turn 2 Curian Beastcaller or turn 3 Kodama. Super powerful play, and we're every time we have a Kodama in hand, the hope is that we have one of these other 2-drop enablers in hand so that we can really start ramping pretty early. That's really the theme of the whole deck. We have some prototype creatures that are both good early and good late. Well, just one in Steel Seraph. Then we have Clay Champion, who is also good early and good great because you can cast it just for 4 as a 4-mana 8/8, or you can cast it for significantly more, or you can spread your counters over many different creatures, which is pretty cool. So that's the basic plan of the deck. We're also going to play things like Strength Coalition to help us win in combat. You can also put a +1/+1 counter each creature we control. And we can also play Tamio Safekeeping to help keep our permanents alive. Shout out to Sunday for submitting this deck. He, I think, did a great job constructing the deck. Has all 4 of us. Looks like a really clean list, and I'm really excited to play it. So thank you for submitting that, and let's get into the videos. Okay, so it looks like our opponent's going first here, and this is a pretty good hand. So we'll get a turn 2 Beastcaller going. Opponent leads on Carpulsion Forest. So that means they probably don't have that many lands in hand, or they have like some Rockfall Veils in hand that they are not too interested in playing because it will become tapped on turn 1. So whenever you start on a Carpulsion Forest, you're always a little wary what your opponent could do, or it could be their only red mana, which is definitely fair as well. Definitely a possibility. Okay, we're gonna have dueling Curian Beastcallers here. See if our opponent plays another creature to get this Curian Beastcaller up the ladder, or if they decide to kill ours. If they don't decide to kill ours, we can start ramping with this Kodama. But they play with fire. So if they could do both here, that would be ideal for them. See if they have the spells to do it. Okay, it doesn't look like it. So it looks like they're going to take the turn off to do that. The question is, do we want to play Siege Veteran or Steel Seraph? I think we want to play Siege Veteran this turn. Just that way we get the +1/+1 counter on it, and it leaves something behind in the event that it dies. The earlier you get down the Siege Veteran, the quicker you can take advantage of the counters on it. But they do kill it. Oh, that's another non-token creature. Okay. So they had a second play with fire. I guess they probably had a lightning strike or something. They kept up 2 mana there. Opponent's hitting us for a bunch here. I think we're going to play this Clay Champion. Attempt to block this turn. Nope. Go to 0 on that. Confirm. You want to pay all green. We want to live this one turn so we can play Steel Seraph and give it lifelink next turn. That's really the whole plan. My guess is they have a lightning strike in hand though, or a play with fire that would also be lethal. Opponent drew every play with fire in their deck, so it's a little tough. If we had been on the opponent had lethal there. Oh, okay. Opponent most definitely had lethal there. Because that's why you play it out and you just don't concede. Get him with the lifelinker. Okay, well. Good thing we didn't concede, I suppose. Now we have the strength of the coalition to potentially block a Beastcaller. I think we are going to just block this Beastcaller. Give the Clay Champion lifelink again. And go to town. Obviously, they're going to get the counters from the Beast Caller going, but it's fine. Better than them getting even better bigger next turn. Okay, they're putting it on the chick. Yep. And we're going to give the Clay Champion lifelink and get in there again. I'm going to play this Clay Champion again for 4 green and GG's. Okay, well, we stole one there with our opponent not attacking for lethal that one turn, but I guess that's the power of having Steel Seraph and Clay Champion in your deck is your opponent's really just not thinking of it, and you can steal games with the lifelink that way. So, alrighty, we'll take it as a W in game 1 for Pump and Go. On to the next one. Okay, we're going first. We have a double brush land hand, so it's not ideal, but if we draw a play brush land turn 1. Sorry, if we draw a Kodama on turn 3 or before turn 3 to pair with this Kyrian Beast Caller, I would be very happy. Another brush land. Depends on what our opponent plays next turn, but I could definitely see us getting a Johnny down. Especially if they just nuke our Beast Caller here. Get in with the Beast Caller. So I kind of am reading our opponent for a lightning strike here. If this is going to cost us 3 life, and I think they're going to have the lightning strike, which means they can kill us a Johnny. Oh, disdainful stroke. Okay, makes sense as well. Okay, opponent's on 2 mana. Still, this turn we do want to play the 8/8 champion. And we have to play for white, green. Put the +1/+1 counter on the Beast Caller. And if they're gonna need another disdainful stroke or something. They do have another disdainful stroke. Okay, well, makes our Beast Caller bigger for sure. See if they have something they can use to develop their board. Brotherhood's End. Okay, it's a good one. The next turn, I think we'll play the Steel Seraph for 6. I think there's no reason to do it now. Opponents being able to answer all our spells has been very nice for them. Get this Steel Seraph going. Give it a lifelink. Doesn't matter though, we'll pass. Opponent's going to need to come up with a 4 damage removal spell or 2 play with fires or something here. See if they have it. We're definitely not blocking here. We just give lifelink and block that way. They let us untap. Pretty happy about it. Yes, we're going to play the Beast Caller and the Siege Veteran. And the Tameo Safekeeping, potentially, if they try to kill one of our things. I think we're going to put the counter from the Siege Veteran onto the Korean Beast Caller. Though. To make it also immune from a Brotherhood's End. Okay, opponents taking damage here. Gotta imagine they have some spell to take advantage of with this Iconoclast, and they don't. Interesting. Also, Brotherhood End in your third path Iconoclast deck is kind of weird in general anyway. Okay, so they're not just attack with the Iconoclast. It's fine with us. Another Iconoclast, sure. Yeah, we'll just go to combat here. I think this time we'll put the +1/+1 counter on the Seraph. And we'll give the Beast Caller flying. An attack for 10. Hope it's lethal enough. It looks to be already. GG's, we'll take that. I'm not sure what exactly was in our opponent's hand. And the Iconoclast with the Brotherhood's End is an interesting deck building decision. I'm curious if they are looking to destroy a bunch of artifacts with this deck. But playing Brotherhood's End and Disdainful Stroke kind of makes sense. You clean up the small creature with Brotherhood's End, and you kill the big one. You counter the big one with the Disdainful Stroke. But I don't know. Interesting. Definitely allowed us to get a dub though, so we'll take it and we'll move on to the next one. Okay, our opponent's going first, and this hand is definitely slow, but we'll see what's going on with it. Start with a Swamp and Evolved Sleeper. Okay. Start with a Forest. See if they evolve this Evolved Sleeper, or what they plan on doing with it. Be really nice if we could draw a Golem Greeters or something this turn, just to have something to play. Bank Buster instead of leveling it up. Okay. Nothing for us on turn 2. We were really hoping to draw a 2-drop there. Last we could not. Opponent swings again. My guess is this time they'll power it once and then draw with a Bank Buster. So I don't really want to play this Ajani out here naked, because in that event they could power up the Bank Buster and most certainly kill it, or just power up the Evolved Sleeper another time and kill it. Here we're going to play something so hopefully they kill it instead of just Bank Busting up the curve. Next turn we'll be able to play Siege Veteran and keep up Strength of the Coalition to protect against a cut down. So that's going to be the plan. I mean, they could just have a 2-mana removal spell here. We'll see. If they have exactly another cut down, we'll definitely spend the Strength Coalition to prevent the death of it. Yep. Give it +2/+2. Counter this cut down. Give it a +1/+1 counter. And pass. This way, next turn we can potentially ramp with a Kodama. Oh, Invoke Despair on 5. Opponents had pretty much the nut draw for their deck. My guess is they power up this Buster, get in with for 4, and there's not going to be a whole lot we can do. If they have a second Invoke Despair, it's not going to look good. Been a pretty ideal draw from us, and from them, and we had a slow draw. We're going all green on this. Make a bigger creature as possible. Steel Seraph would be a great draw next turn if we don't lose the Clay Champion. Shelly, sure. Evolved Sleeper does have Death Touch right now. They're going to draw with their Buster and pass. They're just planning on drawing with it. Going to need to find a removal spell for the Sheldred or a Steel Seraph to give this lifelink. Yeah, we're fine. They can attack with Evolved Sleeper all day. You gotta rip Steel Seraph here. I think it's game over. So let's see if we do. Strength of the Coalition. That's not gonna do it. Don't have enough mana to plus this Johnny to get there. So GG's already. Good game from opponent. Good draw. We had a little bit of slow hand, so guess we kind of expect that from a nice mono black draw. But alrighty, GG's. Hello, and we're back, and this hand looks pretty good. Turn 2 Greeters into turn 3 Veteran or Sleeper. Probably turn 3 Veteran if our Greeters lives. Looks like what we're trying to do. Get this farmland down turn 1 so we can play this Greeters down turn 2. Try to sequence these lands correctly. It's a very important place to be in this format. Our opponent doesn't have untapped red at least, so it means they're going to spend part of this turn to kill our Golem Greeters if that's what they're looking to do. And they're going to just use the Engineer, make a tap Power Stone token when it dies, so we don't really want to kill it. Could this be a turn to get down the Ajani? I don't think so. I think we want to make this Golem Greeters into a 3/3. I don't think a treasure token does that much this turn. So we'll just attack with the Golem Greeters. Opponent can get the Power Stone token. That's totally fine. It'll be a 2-mana, gain 3 life. Make a Power Stone token. See what our opponent has here. They have a removal spell for this Gala Greeters. It's probably going to be in the form of damage space removal, so I'm guessing we're going to see it on this turn before we can untap. Yep, that makes sense. And they're not going to attack the Engineer. Okay. Question here is, do we want to just get busy with the Clay Champion? Or do we want to get the Ajani down and start plussing? I think we're going to attack with the Siege Veteran. And we're going to get this Ajani down, I believe. When it does block, does that change the math on what we do? It might. Actually, you know, I don't know if it did or not, but I think just getting a big Clay Champion down is pretty good. I mean, it's just an 8/8. Our board's pretty formidable. Our opponent's behind. They have 5 mana this turn if it's an artifact source. If they have... Okay, so we're not going to be able to get the correct value off of the Clay Champion, which is a little unfortunate. Yeah, so we're going to pump up the Siege Veteran here, attack with it. And I think we're going to get both Korean Beast Color down. This Boseiju is not going against the Static Net. Obviously, if this would come back as an 8/8, we would just Boseiju the Static Net. That's not the case. Our opponent doesn't look like they were going to have a Wrath, so I think we can present as many threats as we want this turn. So I think the first thing we're going to do is play this Ajani and complete it, because we're going to go up with it mostly. Put another Ajani in the hand. Okay. Get this Beast Collar down. And pass. So that means next turn we could distribute these +1/+1 counters if we wanted to really get busy. See what our opponent has. It could have more Static Net type removal. That might stone the weak stone. Okay. Get our veteran -5/-5 until end of turn. And an Urza. So attack with this Beast Collar. See if we can get our opponent to block. Doesn't look like we can. So next turn becomes a Planeswalker, and once that happens, it is not looking good. Probably going to get melded to death here. Our opponent who drew their 1 blue source to cast this Urza. Plus the Ajani, see what we hit. Safekeeping can go in the graveyard. Or on the bottom. Yeah, I guess we'll play this Kyrian Beast Collar again. It's not looking good here though, folks. Them being able to merge this Urza is very bad for us. If this had just been a removal spell, I think we'd have been a lot happier in this instance. Opponent could exile both of our Kyrian Beast Collars. I mean, it's definitely a possibility. If your opponent has a Resolved Urza, though, you're not looking good no matter what's going on over there. Colorless Soldiers, okay. Mixing some blockers. And exiling our Beast Collar, sure. And playing a Stern Lesson. So opponent's making moves here. Get a Siege Veteran, which isn't bad actually. Their Beast Collar doesn't have Trample, so they're going to be able to just block this for days. Could probably get them to double block if we use the strength of Coalition, but I don't know how strong that is. So let's just plus this Ajani. Get a Kadama.
Reinforcements are near.
Yes, we can make this Kadama. Give the Beast Caller Trample, which is nice. Attack the Urza, and then we'll plus the strength of the Coalition to kill it. Alrighty, well. That's one way to deal with the Urza. We'll take that. I think that was our best way to get out of that. Opponent has some cards in hand to reload, though. Next turn, we're hoping to ramp a bunch with this Kadama. That's the hope, at least. Put a counter on stuff with the Siege Veteran and get in and get Tramply. So hoping to avoid another static net. Arcane Proxy returning Stern Lesson or Excavation Explosion. Okay, looks like Excavation Explosion on Kadama. That's pretty good. I'm gonna get 2 attacks on this Proxy, sure. On this Sleeper Agent. Plus Ajani again. Don't think we want the Aganjo. I'm gonna make this Beast Caller bigger. We're going to make it a 5/5 so we can block the Proxy. And we'll pass and not play this Plains to represent that we have something. We'll put on full control. Oh, repair and recharge. Okay. And they draw 2 cards instead of hitting our Beast Caller. It's good for us, I think. They were perhaps scared of our ability to give these +1/+1 counters. Or something that would negate the -5/-5. And they just wanted overall more card density. Opponent's got a lot of Power Stone here. They still have a lot of mana they can get going with here. See how they use it. He cast most of another Arcane Proxy. I don't know if they've played a land this turn, but if they do play a land, they could cast another Arcane Proxy, this time on a Stern Lesson. Opponent's in the tank as well. It's been an interesting game. Certainly interesting deck from our opponent. I'm very glad we were able to clean up that Urza. They would have gotten real ugly real fast if they had multiple turns of activating that Urza. But yeah, don't hate our position. Ajani has been a little weak here. I mean, we've had it onto the battlefield many turns. It has maybe drawn a couple cards. I'm just not sure Johnny is. I mean, you would hope that if you had a Planeswalker on the field for this long, it would do some serious work. We revealed another Johnny with it. Maybe we revealed a Kadama with it. We haven't put any counters on anything. It's been attacked down. It's gained some life at least. So it's been okay. It hasn't been perfect yet. But maybe we can get there. Well, it's still in the tank, though. Not quite sure what they would be tanking about. Did they just draw nothing with their cards and they're kind of salty? I'm not really sure. Could have lagged out. I'll pause this video now, though. All right, opponent's timer has run out, so it looks like it's going to be our turn again. And looks like their timer's going to start again. Not sure. Okay, our opponent timed out on that again. So now, we can get a Kadama down now again, which is pretty nice. Get the +1/+1 on the Beast Caller. Go big on the Siege Veteran. Go to combat. Put it on the Siege Veteran. Attack with both. Get busy, and that is lethal. Our opponent timed out. I think if they didn't time out, it was going to be a close game. I think they were 65 to 70% to win this game, but they ostensibly timed out, and that was the end for them. But still, cool matchup. Probably he'd leave it in the video just so you can see sort of some more of the interaction between this deck and like artifact themed decks or some other like off the meta beaten path decks. But yeah, it was interesting. But unfortunate for our opponent to lag out there already. Let's get into another one. Okay, our opponent's going first, and we're a land or two away from this being a good hand, so I think we'll keep. Let's see what we can draw. Not a land, so we'll play the overgrown farmland. Get this beast color down next turn, and yeah, we're still hoping to get down a Johnny or Steel Seraph or something on turn 3. Alright, so yeah, getting this beast color down. Opponent is... Could be the same deck we just played against. Could be the Urza file, but I would highly doubt it. But you never know. Contemplating killing it. I mean, this is a card where if you see it on the battlefield, it's just going to grow and grow and grow, so you probably want to kill it as fast as you can. I am going to play the Siege Veteran, though. So that way, if they want to counter the Siege Veteran, they have to let me get an attack with the Beast Caller. Since they allowed me the choice here. Dissipate on the Siege Veteran. Yep, so we get the +1/+1 counter on their Beast Caller. A-okay with us. Trading 3 mana for 3 mana. Hopefully we can still draw mana, but now it's good to know that our opponent does have counter spells in their deck. Okay. Yeah, well, I think we do want to get this Gala Greeters down. And if they attempt to kill this Beast Caller with a Lightning Strike here, I think we'll save it with the safekeeping. Dissipate again. Sure. A little unfortunate that we're not able to pressure them some more here, but this is what we're doing. So they have Wandering Emperor mana. So that was a pretty good draw there. I think that means we're going to play the Steel Seraph. Keep up the Tameo safekeeping. Put another +1/+1 counter on the Beast Caller. Try to get a lifelink, I believe. Opponent's going to have to decide if they want to make counter it again. And if they need another Dissipator, some other 3 mana counter spell, they're not going to be able to draw with the Bank Buster. Sure. See, I think if we were truly trying to play around just Wandering Emperor, we would give this Vigilance. But I think we want them to play a Wandering Emperor here, and we want to protect our Beast Caller with the safekeeping. So we'll use the safekeeping here and bait our opponent into the Wandering Emperor.
I've learned much during my travels.
That way they still take the 5, we gain the 5, and they didn't get any value of the Wandering Emperor where they could have, you know, put a 2/2 onto the battlefield there. If we had just played this for Vigilance. So our opponent's in a tough spot. Gonna probably need a Wrath here to get out of this. If they do have a Wrath, we can follow up with an Ajani or something. Maybe a Clay Champion. Next turn, I think we'd give it Flying to get around a Bank Buster or any potential blocker they're in. See if our opponent really wants to get a blocker down with his Wandering Emperor or not. Opponent's on a tough spot here. Are they going to draw with their Bank Buster? They're going to just kill our Steel Seraph straight up. Fires a victory. Okay. Soul Partition. That's a good one. That is definitely a good one. I think that means we're going to get down this. Would be a 5/5 only, though. I think that's fine. I think we just want to get it down. You can give it trample next turn with Kodama. Opponent draws a card. Maybe they're low on lands. If our opponent just makes the 1/1 here, I think we're definitely going to 2/2. I mean, we're going to play the Kodama next turn and try to get rampy with it. They have another Soul Partition or some 2-mana removal spell. They didn't look like they drew a land, so one of that. They only have mana for like a make disappear or something here. Let's get in with the Clay Champion. First of their life total here. They might have another Fire of Victory by the way they looked at that. Not really sure. Gonna get another Forest here so we can cast a Clay Champion for full power. And now we'll see if they have Fires of Victory. Kind of looked like they did by the way they checked their hand. Although they would have cast it there. Instead of playing a land, they would have drawn with the Bank Buster and then cast it. So probably don't have exactly Fires of Victory. Makes another Samurai. Sure. This is still lethal. One's gonna have to do something else. They could kill the Kodama. Definitely a possibility if that's a route they think they can go to give it on the trample. But yeah, we're gonna jam in here. They had a Lightning Strike for the Kodama. They could stay alive by chump blocking. Okay, move to damage since they're still dead here. Flame Blast Bolt on the Clay Champion. Sure, that doesn't do anything. Go to damage. Okay, yeah, that didn't matter. So GG's already. We got another W. Nice job with Pump and Go. Definitely a pretty strong deck here already. Let's meet in the wrap up. And we're back with a ramp up for Pump and Go, a deck submitted by Sunday. Thank you, Sunday, for submitting this deck. He submitted another great deck here. If you want your deck submitted on the channel, or for me to play on the channel, submit it in the Google Forms in the YouTube video description, and I will get to the deck. Alrighty, the deck performed pretty well. I think just this core right here of Gala Greeters, Beast Caller, Veteran, Kodama, Clay Champion, Steel Seraph. That's a great core. I'm really impressed with the core of that deck. Having some combat tricks with Strength of the Coalition or some ways to protect it with Tameo Safekeeping and having a Planeswalker and a Johnny. Those are all calls that they might be good. They might be just okay. I think you could do some refining on this deck around the edges. Maybe play, instead of one of these, play like a removal spell of some sort. Some way to fight our opponent's creatures. Some way really to just to clear the way, because this deck is not doing a whole lot in terms of interact with your opponent. If you really wanted to lean into the Ajani, you could replace Strength of the Coalition with maybe Brutal Cathar or some sort of creature-based removal type effect, and that would be pretty good, I think. You could also, you could replace, you could take these 4 out, and you could put Wandering Emperor and Brutal Cathar in, and I think you'd have a pretty powerful deck. I mean, every card in your deck at that point is pretty powerful. Certainly one option. The biggest question for me is, how good is the Johnny Sleeper Agent? So let's say we converted all of these cards into creatures or planeswalkers so that the +1 would hit as long as it didn't hit a land. The problem is we still have 24 lands in the deck, so the odds of you're doing a little better than a coin flip on whether you're going to draw a card with a Johnny on its +1 every turn, which from a 4-mana planeswalker, or a 3-mana planeswalker in some instances, it's not ideal. I think you want your creature to be doing more than that. And it does have a relevant minus where you can distribute 3+1/+1 counters among the 3 target creatures, and again vigilance until end of turn. But that 3+1/+1 counters, that's not worth that much. It might be worth a card or part of a card, half a card or something like that, worth of value. It's not that amazing. So I think maybe a Johnny, what people might be sleeping on a Johnny. I'm not sure if it's really powerful enough to contend in the format, just because the other planeswalker options, they just do more. They just, like Wandering Emperor, for instance. It straight up kills your opponent's creatures with its minus, and then it can make an infinite stream of tokens at least every other turn. It does a lot. It's a very powerful card. It gives it pluses to give your creatures +1/+1 counters, which is also relevant synergy here, right? It pluses to do that instead of minusing, which is pretty relevant. And other planeswalkers like Teferi, or just any of the relevant planeswalkers you can think of in this format, I feel like they do more for their mana cost than a Johnny does. Doesn't mean it's a bad card. Obviously, it's a niche card that's supposed to go into specific +1/+1 counter decks. I think to really take care of a Johnny would need some sort of effect that doubled the amount of +1/+1 counters. So that way, when you gave 3+1/+1 counters to 3 different target creatures and it doubled them, it's like you gave 6 +1/+1 counters. Now we're really talking. Now that's a very powerful effect, but I don't see a way for that in standard. And so until that happens, I think Johnny might be sidelined in these style of decks. But it's definitely an interesting card to think about, and it's definitely fun. We've had it on the battlefield a bunch, so we got to see how good or how mid it was. And I think the overall rating I'm going to give it is just it's kind of mid, right? It is a support card in the deck, but I think you can do more for 4 mana in the spot. We're loving to slam Clay Champion. It's just huge every time we do it, and a Johnny doesn't give you the same feeling. So just a thought. But overall, thank you, Sunday, for submitting the deck. It was a fun deck. Obviously, it's powerful. We won a lot of games. Just this core, like I was talking about, is the backbone to, I think, many successful decks in this standard. And I think fitting the rest of the deck around it is an interesting puzzle, and I think could be a very fruitful puzzle if someone figured out the right answer. But alrighty, thank you again for submitting it, Sunday. And until next time, wherever you are, whenever you are, have a magical day.